What is up, everyone? My name is Nick, and welcome back to Against the Call. I'm joined by my co-host Michael. Today, we're going to be talking via Zoom. I'm back in college, but today's lineup, we got the pregame, the introductions that we always do. We're going to have a college football playoff final discussion, the future of college football, where we're going to give our preseason top 10. After that, we're going to have Crystal Ball Player College Football Edition 2023, who we believe is going to be the early Heisman candidate. We're also going to go through our NFL playoff brackets where we'll go through each game and who we think will win all the way up to the Super Bowl. We're going to have a new segment called Who's Your Daddy, where the guys are going to name who owns their favorite NFL team. After that, we're going to have lunch table talk. We're going to be talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Skip Bayless. After that, we're going to be diving into UCF 2022 recap, just talking about UCF sports. If you guys are interested in that, and I'm sorry if you're a USF fan and you're listening, sorry about that, but you should definitely listen because we did better than you in every sport. And then after that, NBA games of the weekend. Who is the biggest baseball guy? That is going to be a super fun topic, so stay tuned for that. We're going to have our countdown of the best MLB players going into the next season, the top 5. After that, we're going to have our draft day, Mike's Locks, where we'll see what happens with Mike's Locks in a second. But then after that, we're going to have our draft day, best people named Justin. That is going to be a super fun draft. So make sure you wait till the end for that. But anyways, so Michael, did you get a chance to watch that college football playoff final?
Of course I did. I was watching while I was editing some graphics for this. It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
even like close, bro. That was
Yeah.
the big. I'm pretty sure that was like the biggest blowout in championship history, or like
Um,
close to it.
Before we get into that, I totally forgot the pregame. The pregame. We have big news to share with everyone. So the other day we got our first sponsor, everyone. Shout out to WDUBBY. They're an energy sports, or they're an energy like drink thing. Think of like G Fuel in a sense, the way that they like sell their tubs full of powder, you mix it in the drink and everything like that. So we'd appreciate it greatly if you would use our promo code against the call, no spaces, against the call for 10% off your next purchase. It's gonna be fun working with them, and you always remember your first. You always remember the first people that are going to help you out at the beginning. So we'll see what happens there. Anything you wanted to add about Dubby?
No, it's really cool that we actually got our first sponsor already so early in our
Yeah.
career for this. It's gonna be really fun. Go check it out. Again, our code is against the call. 10% off your next purchase. Yeah.
But right back into it. There wasn't much of a game. There definitely wasn't much of a game at all. So Georgia beats TCU 65-7. And
Am I wrong? This is the biggest blowout in history for college
yeah,
final
so
history.
this is the largest margin of victory in any BCS or college football playoff championship game. Also, they led at halftime, being up 38-7, which was the largest halftime victory since Miami led Nebraska 34-0 in the 2002 BCS National Championship.
Mhm.
And on top of that, Georgia putting up 17 in the first quarter was the most in the first quarter in all of BCS and college football playoff history.
Georgia was going ham,
So,
dude.
first quarter, halftime, full game, largest victory, largest amount of points in all those categories. And this was such a big blowout. I don't know if you've seen the clips, but Georgia players were going to the sidelines. They met up with some like Georgia fans that were in the crowd, and they were getting chicken wings and like they were getting food. This was like past halftime. They were already celebrating. I mean, 38 to
Wow.
7 at halftime. The funniest thing is like Barstool is like reporting how TCU is like that fourth quarter team. They're that fourth quarter team. They're gonna come in and they're gonna come back. They're a comeback team, dude. But um,
uh,
this brings up another point of Sonny Dykes, the head football coach for TCU. He was talking mainly like there was a press conference beforehand where he was all about, oh, SEC teams, they got an easy schedule like near the end when they play, Citadel and FCS teams half the time, which there he does serve a point there. There is a lot of times where you play against, some nobodies near the end for the SEC schedule, but you got to think about just how big and how powerful of a conference the SEC is. Like this just goes to prove by millions how big the SEC is compared to, you know, a team like TCU or a team, you know, an American conference, whatever. And I mean, just think bringing that up, Cincinnati held a closer game with Alabama than TCU did against this
Yeah,
Georgia team.
it's
Um,
gave us false hope in this game.
no, yeah, by the end of the first quarter, we had a bunch of people over since I'm back at UCF now. We had a bunch of people over for the dorm to watch the game. There wasn't much watching that happened after the first quarter. We went ahead and pulled out the folding table and started playing some poker. So there wasn't much. But another thing to mention about this game, first back-to-back title since 2011 and 2012 Alabama teams. And a funny thing about that, Kirby Smart was on both sides of this because he was a coordinator. I can't remember if he was OC or DC. It just left my mind, but he was an OC or DC at Alabama for those years.
Yeah,
So obviously he's taking that championship blueprint with him to Georgia, and it's been history from there. But Georgia closed as a 13.5 point favorite, which was the largest favorite in a championship game since the 1998 Volunteers.
yeah. I
And
really wanted John to be on this episode because I was gonna bring up this was the biggest blow in history, obviously. With number two, the biggest margin was the number one Nebraska beat the number two Florida Gators with a 38-point differential, 62-24 in their game. So I want I always like messing with
man,
John, dude. I wish he was
another thing
here.
too, the one podcast that you guys filmed without me, at first I thought he got it right. Like he said Georgia
Yeah,
was
he
going
was
to
like,
win
and then he,
64, and then he said TCU 50
yeah, I was
something,
like,
and I was like,
I remember that. I was
oh.
like, damn, he was so close. If he just said it was gonna be a blowout, he would have like, he was joking, obviously, but he would have like predicted it. I'll give him. It'll be John's locks after that. So that happened.
No, yeah. I mean, John's somehow won like a lot in prize picks anyways. I don't know. But anyways, Stetson Bennett, you know, he's been a little popular TikTok clip for us lately. A lot of
Yeah,
people, you know, they've had their fair share of words that they wanted to say, but Stetson Bennett finished his career as a Georgia starter with a 29-3 record.
yep.
He finished this game 18 of 25 with 304 yards and 4 tutties before he was pulled in the fourth quarter. And I remember watching this game and I was like, I'm watching a national championship game where they're literally pulling out the starting quarterback at the beginning of the fourth quarter. This is sad. Like this
Yeah, that
is
that's so sad, dude. It, it's so tough because I really wanted TC to do good, and I thought
yeah.
after the Mission game they would do good. I thought they were gonna be like a good team to face, and nope.
I mean, I did figure that Georgia was going to win this game, but I thought it was going to be a lot closer. I thought that
Yeah,
TCU was
exactly.
definitely going to have that underdog mentality. My entire envisionment of this game was TCU makes it close, and then they have a like game winning drive, and they come up short, and it's sad on both ends. But they were so far down going into like the end of the second quarter to where I just want to know what the speech was at halftime. I saw like a lot of memes like Waterboy, like the halftime in Waterboy, where he's just
Yeah.
like, I
Does
don't
anyone have
know.
any ideas?
Yeah. And it was like this was such a big blowout that the players on TCU weren't like usually when you lose a national championship game, any big championship game, there's a few players that are crying, you know, because of how sad it is. If there was any crying that was done, it was before halftime because
Yeah,
there was, I mean, I just remember watching like after halftime, they're getting demolished by Georgia's secondary, and Max Duggan is just his face. You could see that he's just like, there's nothing I can do. Like
yeah,
this is what it's come to, and I can't do anything about it.
yeah. They
Um,
knew they lost after that half, dude. There's no coming
yes,
back from that. If it would have
uh,
been a crazy comeback story, but it didn't happen.
they had the full underdog story going for them, and then the super dog just demolished
Stop with
them.
that.
Like no, yeah. And then my crystal ball player that we did near the beginning. I think it was like episode 2 or something like that. We each picked our crystal ball players. My crystal ball was Brock Bowers, and dude showed up. I mean, he had 7 receptions for 152 yards and a touchdown, with his longest being a 35-yard catch. So, I mean, my crystal ball player was correct there. I'm
Yeah, it paid
happy
off.
about that. Yeah, Brock Bowers, he is that guy. He's one of the best tight ends in college football that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
But also there
Is
was
he
there
going
was
to
a lot of
the draft this year?
no, he's not. He's
No.
coming back. He's a sophomore this year.
Oh,
So
he is. I
yeah,
thought he was a sophomore. I thought he was gonna be a junior.
nah. So on top of that, I do want to mention that as I was watching the game, Georgia was making a lot of hard catches. Like TCU's secondary, they were the catches that were made near like the end zone and near like the sidelines. TCU's secondary was like putting the pressure on. Like they were there,
Yeah, I was just gonna
and the
say some
crazy
very good
catches I was
catches.
seeing, yeah, there was like some that are like right over the guy. There's some that are like near the helmet. I mean, there was some crazy catches made by Georgia receivers that was just super impressive to watch. And I'm glad that one thing I do want to mention, I'm so glad that they kept running up the score because I wanted this game. Like by the time it was halftime, I was like, I want this game to go in the history books for like biggest like
Yeah.
margin of victory. And they kept it going. And like even when they brought in their second string, he kept the game going. He was still like wanting to score. And I remember the commentators were talking about like any squad that comes out on Georgia, whether it's second strings, third strings, first strings, they're gonna like want to score on you, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what they did.
Exactly.
Also, NFL first round hopeful Jalen Carter. He's supposed to be going in the first round, potentially top 10 for Jalen Carter.
Mhm.
He there even some people were saying number one pick besides Will Anderson Jr. or Bryce Young, so potentially top 3 for Jalen Carter. He only had 2 total tackles and 2 solo tackles in this game. He was outshined by Samael Mondon Jr. with his 5 total tackles and 4 solo tackles. So Georgia's defense being the best in the nation,
Mm.
I mean, they proved it once again. One thing I do want to mention as well, TCU last season finished 5-7, and they were picked to be number 7 in their own conference in the Big 12 conference. So for them to have that expectation of being super low in their own conference and then coming back the next season and going to the national championship game, there's not much more that TCU fans could ask for other than maybe beating Kansas State in their conference championship game.
Oh
But
yeah.
you know,
And they
they
didn't get
TCU
a
fans.
championship. They got a bowl game.
Oh yeah, they got a bowl. They did get a bowl game win. You know that which is super big, especially New Year's Six
Yeah.
bowl games, playoff bowl games. Those are big for the program. And as you've seen, there's like been like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 like Alabama like starters and second stringers or whatever that have transferred to TCU. So
Yeah. Hey,
it's very big for
beat
their
Michigan.
program.
They beat Michigan. A lot of people didn't think they would. That's still something too.
Exactly. The TCU fans have everything to be happy about. They just went against one of the most dominant teams and that we've had in a little bit, really. Because I mean, this Georgia team is just they have the blueprints to win national championships. And I truly do think that after seeing this performance and seeing Kirby Smart and how smart he actually is, like they are the new Bama. They just are. And I remember David Polak or Poliak, however you pronounce his last name, he's on College Game Day. They had Nick Saban up there with him, and he was like, he says it like straight to Saban. He's like, Georgia is the new like powerhouse of college football, and
Yeah, I
Saban
remember
just
seeing
kind of
Saban's face too. He
he,
just sat there.
he sat there and just took it, bro. He took it. Um, so also for a guy like Max Duggan, he threw a lot of picks in the Michigan game. But Max Duggan was very good on his completions throughout the entire regular season. And in this game, he threw 2 picks in the first half. And he only had like 97, 93 yards in the first half. He just got absolutely crushed. Every time I look at this TV, like once we kind of stop watching it, every time I look at the TV, I just see Max Duggan getting sacked. Like
Yeah,
every time.
like that O line
That
was
or he's
not
just
doing
throwing
its
it.
job.
No, they were not, dude. They were not at all. And lastly, to cover up this entire college football final discussion, the last 4 national champions have all been SEC teams.
Oh yeah, they have, haven't they?
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying, like, well, head coach Josh Heupel of the Tennessee Vols, legendary coach here. He was on like a podcast or a talk show sort of thing, and people were asking him about the playoffs, and he said the playoffs should literally just be like the top 4 SEC teams playing. which I mean, I don't blame him. And now that we're gonna have this 12-team playoff come in the future, I'm here to say it like right now, there will be a playoff game or a top four like playoff pitcher in the future, all four SEC teams. I can
I'm
see
excited for
that
that top
happening.
that 12 team playoffs. It's gonna be
Me
fun to
too.
watch.
It will be a lot of fun. And I think that with that, there will come a lot of good upsets that
Yeah,
we're going to be excited to
exactly.
see. But then again, whenever you're going to have your Georgias and your Bamas, they're probably still going to make it all the way there. I mean, they're just good programs. So
Not when they face UCF though. UCF's not gonna get that official dub.
I think UCF plays TCU next year. I could be
Do they?
wrong, but I think that they're in the same like division as
Oh wait,
TCU in the
yeah,
Big 12.
because it'll be Big 12. So yeah, they probably will.
So we'll see. But that is the end of the college football playoff final discussion. We're going to be jumping right into the future of college football, where we're going to give our preseason top 10. So Michael, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So as many know, I started like watching college football this year, a little bit last year started. So don't hate me for some of these picks. All right. So
All
my
right.
number 10, I'm gonna have Oregon at my
Okay,
10.
that's fair. That's fair.
Now that I always like, even before I watched it, they were like big team. They had Justin Herbert on the team, and
Mhm.
I see they get transfers every year, and they're always a solid team. So they're at 10. Uh, at my 9, I have FSU
Okay.
coming off a big season this year. It like shocking a lot of people. They did very good, and they're how how many people are going to the draft on their team? Not many, right?
Yeah, not many.
So a lot of their team
A
is
few
still
of
going to
their
be there.
defensive players. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're also getting transfers. I keep seeing they get transfers too. So they're building even a better team for next year. And they did amazing. Like who they play in the bowl game again? That was it
Oklahoma.
was Oklahoma, and that was a great game. I was watching that game. That was a very fun game to watch.
It
And
was,
that win
but
was
Oklahoma was only 6-6 this
yeah,
past season. They were
and I was
awful.
just like, yeah, that's a good point. And then my number 8, I have USC. I have them at
What
8.
happened?
And then my 7, I have Tennessee.
Really? Okay, nice, nice.
That was for you. That was for you.
Thank
Not
you.
gonna
I appreciate
lie.
that.
At my 6, I have LSU. At my 5, I have Penn State.
Okay.
Num- Number 4, Ohio State. Number 3, Alabama. Number 2, Michigan. Number 1, TCU. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Georgia. Georgia at 1. Just kidding.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, that for your first like, kind of official preseason list, that was fairly good. And I think that we actually had most of the same teams. Just a little bit of different order. So I think that like when making this was like where I see each of these teams ending the season, which I think, you did the same thing. But so for my number 10, I have Tennessee. My reason for that is Joe Milton is a great quarterback. The way that he slings the ball is incredible. Like, I don't know if you've seen his clips, but whenever you're trying to get a deep ball to somebody, Joe Milton is your guy. And there's been times in the past when they took Hooker out and they put Joe Milton in just to throw a Hail Mary. He's that guy. The thing is with Joe Milton that I've watched every time he's played, he's great with a deep ball, not always accurate with a deep ball, and he's not always accurate with his short passes. He has such a powerful arm that when he throws the ball, it's like a bullet, like headed straight to you, and that's not good for the short and medium passes. So he has a lot to work on. I'm hoping that Peyton Manning will kind of work on it with him over the offseason.
Mhm.
But also we could be seeing some Nico Iamaleava action this upcoming season, which I really hope that we do. And I'm excited for the orange and white game coming up in the spring. But another thing, a lot of returners are coming back. We have all three of our running backs coming back. We got Jalen Wright, Sampson, and Jabari Small. They're all returning. Small was second in SEC for most rushing touchdowns for running backs. So, I mean, he's coming off a great year. We did lose Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman, two of our top wide receivers. But on top of that, we just picked up Dante Thornton from Oregon, who was heavily sought out in this transfer portal. He was sought out by big names like Alabama, Georgia, all of them, and he ended up coming to Tennessee on Monday this past week. Not to mention, we have upgrades to our secondary. Our secondary was so bad last season. It was some of the worst defense I've ever seen a team play, other than the Kentucky game when we blew them out 44-16 or 44-6. Sorry. That was the only time I saw them play like really good. Also, they played fairly good against Clemson. But the thing is with Clemson, you got, their second strings in. So that's
Yeah.
not saying much. So on top of that, we got 4-star DBs coming in and 4-star defensive players, and we also got transfers. So their secondary is going to be upgraded, which is going to keep them in the top 10. My number
Yeah.
9, I got Penn State. Penn State, they lost Sean Clifford, their starting quarterback, but last season they put up 11 wins last season. 2 of the losses that they had were against both playoff teams, Ohio State and Michigan. So Penn State has a really bright future. Freshman QB Drew Aller is very hyped for the fan base. The fan base loves this guy. Apparently, after he was the top number 2 pocket passer in ESPN's top 300, he was number 2 for that for pocket passing. So they're really excited to see this freshman. They're going to be starting him too, freshman starter at Penn State. But I think he has enough weapons surrounding him. Most of their players were freshmen and sophomores, like Katrin Allen and Nicholas Singleton.
Mhm.
So they like this really good team that they had. They really just have to rely on Drew Aller to get them to that next level. And we could
Yeah.
be seeing them upset teams like Michigan and Ohio State next year. I mean, Penn State's done it in the past, and they could do it again. So also, their defense improved a lot last season from their new DC Manny Diaz. So we're seeing a whole new upgraded Penn State team next year. I truly believe that. Also, they had a big, big win against Utah in the Rose Bowl, so that gives them great
Yeah.
momentum going into the next season. At my number 8, I got Oregon. Bo Nix, he's returning, and Coach Dan Lanning had a very, very solid first season. I mean, some disappointments here and there, obviously.
Mhm.
Especially their first game. They lost to Georgia their first game, 48-3. So I mean, that's just another showing of Georgia's dominance. But
Yeah.
they landed the number 8 recruiting class in the nation, and they always are like top 10 for their recruiting classes at Oregon. It's crazy, crazy. But also their schedule makes it to where they'll be good. Like Oregon's schedule, they're not as hard as other
Yeah.
schedules.
Pretty easy
The
schedule
Pac,
next season.
yeah, the Pac-12 is improving with Colorado, USC, Utah, and all them. It is improving, but Oregon, Bo Nix is coming off a great year for Bo Nix. He
Mhm.
was a Heisman candidate. He wasn't the top 4 Heisman candidates, but he was number 6, I believe. So he had a great season that he had, but he's just got to take that next step this next season. This, I believe, is the last year. So he's going to
Yeah.
have to prove that he's a quality quarterback going into the draft. So Oregon at my 8. At my 7, I got LSU. Um, Jaden Daniels is returning as well as all of his O line. And we talked a lot about this when Brian was our guest. That was fun.
Yeah.
But also, speaking of Brian Kelly, the head coach, is a good football coach. He proved that he is a great football coach. Everybody doubted him coming out of Notre Dame. You don't play that many people going into Notre Dame, being an independent school and all that stuff. But he proved after getting 10 wins with an SEC team that he's a good coach, first year there. He's a super solid coach. They're hard schedule. The reason I have them at my 7, they're hard schedule. Being in the SEC school, they're going to have to play Alabama next season. And after beating them like this previous season, I don't see Alabama losing to them again.
Yeah.
And then also, we'll see if Texas A&M is better this year. I highly doubt it, but I think that Texas A&M will at least get a bowl game this upcoming year. So on top of that, they just need to fill some holes on their defense. But Mason Smith is returning next season after his torn ACL, which will help fill that hole. He was great before he tore his ACL, so they got the hole filled. But at my number 6, I got USC. Um, Sorry, James Draws, I got USC at my 6, but Lincoln Riley's first year was a disappointing one, kind of like Coach Lanning's, but it was successful. Lincoln Riley doing Lincoln Riley things. He had a freaking Heisman come out of his school with Caleb Williams. They got Dorian Singer from the transfer portal, who led Pac-12 in receiving yards at Arizona with 1,000 or 1,105 receiving yards. So, I mean, that's a really big pickup, another big weapon for Caleb Williams since he's
Yeah,
returning.
maybe
And there's
Caleb
not much
Williams is
else
a
to
lot
say.
better than he already is.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. And I mean, there is potential that he could be back-to-back Heisman. I really don't think that he deserved Heisman out of the candidates last season. It's just my personal opinion. But I think that he's definitely going to take that step and get USC a little bit higher. Maybe win the Pac-12 this year. That's a potential thing. You know, if they can actually get past Utah, which they can't get past the Utes for some reason. But at my number 5, give me Florida State. Florida State at my number 5, just missing the playoffs. All of FSU's top receivers and running backs are returning, and Jordan Travis is on fire, dude. Their quarterback is on fire. They won their last 6 games, and this was head coach Mike Norvell's 3rd year at FSU, and he won 10 games, and he's on a 6-game win streak, like I mentioned. So, I mean, it's his 3rd year there. He's doing great things. He's getting the culture back at FSU that they so desperately needed. After losing Jimbo Fisher, that was a big culture shock for them. But Norvell got Bell, who was a top tight end in the transfer portal from South Carolina. He's getting Jordan Travis's weapons, which is great.
Yep.
Also, Jared Verse at DB, who's a potential top 10 NFL pick, is returning. So, I mean, you got some solid defensive backs. They're all returning. And they got guys who are going to fill those voids and holes for the DBs and cornerbacks that are going into the draft. They got these guys. Mike Norvell is a very good recruiter, and you also could see Mike Norvell doing great recruiting at a school like Memphis. You know, whenever he coached at Memphis, he did such a solid job there. It was always a big game between Memphis and UCF, you know, in the previous years.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm going to a basketball game tonight, Memphis versus UCF, and that should be a lot of fun. Yeah, no invite. You want to come? You can slide. You can slide. One thing though is whenever UCF does go into the Big 12, I will be rooting for Memphis a little bit more. I have a cousin that's going there next year, and you got to root for a hometown team up in Tennessee. So, you know, Memphis, they're Memphis Tigers. We'll see you guys next season. But as for now, we're still enemies. But yeah, so that FSU is at my 5, just so happened missing the playoffs. My number 4, Michigan. Now I'm saying Michigan, but I'm really iffy about this one. The reason I'm iffy about this one is Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is expected, quote unquote, expected to take an NFL job. So if
I have seen that. I have seen that.
Yeah, you know, his brother's in the NFL, and Jim Harbaugh has had some NFL coaching in the past, but that's for a different subject. I think that if he stays at Michigan, Michigan is top 4 team. They're the number 4 team. JJ McCarthy and Blake Corum are returning. Blake Corum was a Heisman candidate before he got injured. He could have won Heisman if he didn't get injured. Also, Jim Harbaugh, he's built the culture there. So without him, we could see a little shakeup. But I do think there's still like a lot of good like players that are at Michigan, whether he leaves or not, they could still do good. But Michigan had always had a winning culture. Up until like every year they lost to Ohio State, you know, but now they're on a 2-year win streak against Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh has brought that winning culture back to Michigan. So whether he leaves or not, I still think that they'll be top 10. If he stays, top 4. At my number 3, I got Alabama. And I got Alabama for the sole reason that it's Nick Saban. And Nick Saban is coming off one of his disappointing years. You know what? 2 losses. That's a disappointing year for Nick Saban, which is saying it's saying something, dude. And Nick Saban has always, every time he has a bad year, he comes back the next season and he just kills it. So it's going to be hard to replace Bryce Young, especially with Milroe, who's their second string. He has bad ball security. He really does. But I think that, you know, all the money that's at Alabama, they're going to get him an ideal QB coach to help improve.
They always find a good QB.
Yeah, they always do. And like in the past, Alabama quarterbacks were so good in college, then they get to the NFL and they suck. But recently that's changed. And I think it's gonna
Yeah.
still be the same when Bryce Young enters the NFL. I think he'll be a pretty good quarterback eventually. Um, it's also going to be hard replacing defensive players like Toa Toa. I hate that guy. He's a traitor. But anyways, it'll be hard to replace him and Will Anderson Jr. But it's Nick Saban. He's already got his transfers coming. He's already got top three recruiting class in the nation. It's not going to be hard for Alabama to get to number three again. Um, so that's that. No, number two, give me Ohio State. Emeka Egbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. are returning. Those are their top wide receivers. And Ryan Day is also just a legendary coach so far. Ryan Day has been doing he picked up right where Urban Meyer left off. And Ryan Day has just been playing or coaching at an elite level. And it's been fun to
Yep.
watch. And one thing to mention is I've seen a lot of things saying if Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't get injured um in the Georgia game, we could have seen an entirely different national championship, which I truly believe. I
Yeah.
think it would have been way less of a blowout. Um, but you know, the fact that Ohio State came 1 point within beating a great Georgia team is
Yeah.
just super crazy. So Ohio State at two. Also Ohio State at two because no matter what, they're always going to be top 10 with their coaching and their players because they don't play anybody that big. I mean, they're going to be playing against Iowa and Wisconsin and teams like that, teams that have no offense. So I mean, that's always going to happen. And somehow sometimes they still find a way to fall behind those teams, which is kind of funny to watch. But Ohio State at two. My number one for next season, no surprise here, Georgia. They've just been on an elite run lately. And one thing to mention was before this year, they lost 15 of their starters to the NFL draft. 15 before
Yeah.
this year. And they still went unbeaten and they demolished TCU in a national championship game. So whenever they lose players, they're not really losing much. They're just losing star talent they already had. Georgia got a top three recruiting class yet again. And another thing to mention, Thomas and Lovett from Mississippi State and Missouri, they're great wide receivers. They're just new weapons for the sophomore Beck from on Georgia. He was a second string that played a little bit in that game. There's going to be great weapons for him to throw to. Not to mention, Brock Bowers is back. So I mean, Brock Bowers is going to be Brock Bowers, and he's going to be that guy that he's been for the past 2 years. And also, the last thing I want to mention with Georgia, they have easy out of conference games. They got easy out of conference games. One against Ball State. They got UAB they play next year. They got Georgia Tech, which, God, Georgia Tech, Georgia rivalry. It's not even a rivalry at this point. And then they're also playing UT Martin, which is an FCS team. So
Yeah.
Georgia and the number
See, they're
one
going
isn't going to be
undefeated
hard.
again.
Undefeated? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'll go undefeated yet again. It's all going to depend on this new sophomore quarterback that they have. If he is going to be good, if he's going to be accurate and everything, which I didn't really get to see too much of him because he was always given the ball to run. I think that if he does good, then yeah, they go into unbeaten. I think it all relies on the quarterback next year. It's all going to
Yeah.
rely. They don't got Bennett, they're going to have to rely on this Beck kid to do their best work, and we'll see what happens. So that's my top 10. And that pretty
Good
much
top
wraps it
10.
up for college football 2023 preview. So the next thing
Wait,
we're going to get into, what is
crystal
that?
ball, right?
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
crystal ball.
Yeah.
Oh,
You go ahead. Crystal ball player for college football 2023. Who do you have being your Heisman candidate? Who you got winning Heisman? Way
I
too early
have
predictions. Way too early, but
way
let's
too
see.
early. I'm going with Caleb Williams going back to back.
Oh my goodness. We'll see if they can beat
Hey,
Utah, man.
he got more. He showed out this year, and now he's getting more weapons for next year. I just think it's gonna just add to his resume. He's gonna go off like he did this year, and I think he's gonna carry that USC team to even better ranking. And I think they're gonna like they have a chance of. I don't think it's a big chance, but they have a good chance. And I think they could make the playoffs as based on how he plays. And I think he's gonna ball out next year.
I mean, that's fair to say. I think I think you and majority, well, not majority, but a lot of people in the college football world think that Caleb Williams will go back to back, which I mean, it's definitely a possibility, especially with these stupid people that we have running the Heisman votes. I don't think that they like really understand what a Heisman looks like,
Yeah,
but it's
they're not
fine.
super.
Um, for my way too early, way too early Heisman candidate, give me Jordan Travis from FSU. Jordan Travis, oh my gosh. So the last 6 games that he played with a 6 game win streak, he was on fire, dude. I haven't seen a like FSU quarterback that is so mobile and good with a ball since Jameis Winston, honestly. And Jameis Winston, he the one thing to mention too, Jordan Travis, he had Jameis Winston type numbers last season. But the thing is there's just so much other competition to go against. So he didn't really have that opportunity. But he had 300 or 3,214 passing yards last season, 24 touchdowns and 5 picks, with 417 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. This was all last season. And before that, his 2 years before that, he had over 500 rushing yards. So this was a bad rushing
Yeah,
season for him. And he was still getting around just about every defender that came in his way. On top of that, FSU is making a big jump this next season, and Jordan Travis is going to lead the way to that. It's going to be an offensive showing
I can
from
see it.
Jordan
I can
Travis.
definitely see that happening.
No, yeah, for sure. And then my prediction, he's going to throw for over 3,400 passing yards, and he's going to have 29 to 30 touchdowns, passing touchdowns. He's going to have 29 to 30 passing touchdowns. I know it sounds a little crazy, but I truly do think that I can't exactly tell you how many rushing touchdowns he's going to have because that's a little iffy. I definitely like 4
Yeah.
or more, definitely. 5, and I also got him having 500 rushing yards himself, over 500. So yeah,
Yep. Well, that ends the really our college sports segment for today, right? Do you have anything else to say?
yeah. No, that's gonna be
So we're
it.
gonna we are going to move into our NFL playoff bracket and predictions now
Yeah,
with Nick. But now John can't gonna be here today, unfortunately. So we're sucks,
it's all
but
right.
we're
His
still gonna go on without him.
his
Is
picks.
how it is.
Hey, you can hear me all right,
So we're
right?
gonna go through. Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. It just popped up something like network is unstable.
Yeah, it's a little delayed, but I just give it a second, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Anyways, so we're going our predictions of who's winning and who's going to go into the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Pretty simple. Nick, do you want to start it off?
Wait. So we're gonna start with like the first round, right?
Yeah, we're going to start with the first round, and
All
then
right.
I'll go the
I'll
first round.
start.
Then
I'll start with the AFC first. So Chargers at Jags. In this game, John, you can suck it, dude. I got Chargers winning this game. My main reason for that, Jacksonville is gonna do Jacksonville things. Jags are gonna jag, as they like to say. And Jaguars being 9-8, going against the hungry um Herbo show. I was gonna say hippo, but Herbo show for sure with Justin Herbert. I mean, this guy he definitely wants to prove himself for being a top quarterback from his draft class. And on top of that,
yeah,
you got guys like Austin Eckler. I mean, they just are better than the Chargers in every which way. I mean, better than the Jaguars in every which way. Sorry, better quarterback, better running back, better secondary. So give me the Chargers in that game. Next game,
okay,
it's going to be a really fun game to watch because of the rivalry, Ravens at Bengals. But I think it's easy to say Bengals win this. I think that's
is
just easy.
is Lamar going to be back? That's
Apparently,
another
yeah.
thing.
I mean, I think the Lamar's going to be back for sure, but I don't even think that proves much. Like that doesn't matter that much in my
Yeah,
opinion. I think Bengals still win this.
mhm.
Especially with Joe Burrow, like he already has this like experience. I mean, Lamar has
Yeah,
it, but Lamar hasn't been successful in the playoffs.
exactly.
After that, Dolphins at Bills. Tua just confirmed to still be under concussion protocol, so they're going to be relying on Skylar Thompson. This is not even going to be a fun playoff game. It's going to be a wild card game, kind of like we saw with the Bucks versus Eagles, where it was just a blowout, in my opinion. Bills win it big. Bills win big.
Okay.
Do you want to you go ahead with your AFC round one?
IFC. Well, this isn't fun. I have all the same picks as you, but
All right.
I have Chargers over. I think it was stupid for the Chargers to play their starters on their last game. There was no reason. There was like I mean they yeah they were they're
Hold on, Mike. You keep
actually
cutting
no
out.
but
You keep cutting out like
uh,
really bad.
hello
All right.
hello
All
hello.
right. All right. Go ahead.
All right, but I was saying I think it was stupid for the Chargers to play all their starters in the last game. Mike Williams got hurt in this playoff game. Even without him, I think they're gonna win easily. The Jags are they're a good team, don't get me wrong, but I think they're one of the worst teams in this playoff. And they're a young team that with Trevor Lawrence leading the way. But I saw a video of him trying to hype up his team in the tunnel. Man, I saw a meme saying this man could have hyped me up to make a sandwich in the morning. It was like so bad, which was true. It was like
Sounds like a
almost like so
2K
dull about
player,
it.
bro.
But yeah,
Sounds like
exactly.
2K
And then,
audio.
but yeah, I got the Chargers winning that game. For the next game, I got Bengals beating the Ravens. Like you said, with or without Lamar, Joe Burrow's better in my opinion. He has better weapons as well, way better weapons. They have a better defense. No, I'd say the Ravens have better defensive backs. I'll admit they have very good defensive backs. However, the Bengals defense is still very good, and I think they're gonna stop any anything the Ravens do. If Lamar's playing, they just have to stop him on the legs. That's basically it. He doesn't have
Yeah.
weapons. Mark Andrews, of course, and then Miami Dolphins versus Bills. Not with the team playing for Demar. I'm not. I'll watch the beginning of it, but I already tell it's going to be a blowout. So I got Bills winning that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. 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 That's great. Do you want to just go through our AFC completely and then jump to NFC? All right. AFC round two. It would be a Chargers at Chiefs matchup for the both of us. This is going to be another division rivalry. But it's quite simple to say that I would have Chiefs in this one. I mean, especially with they already having a bye week and they've proven that they can take care of the Chargers throughout this regular season. I don't think it's any different here. It's Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. It's basically the equivalent of Brady almost, except for Mahomes has a little bit less luck than Brady. Um, but after that, I would say the next game would be Bengals versus Bills. Uh, Bengals versus Bills, man. This is gonna be very fun to
It
watch
would be in
because
Buffalo.
yeah, it would be in Buffalo, and I mean, on top of that, like we didn't get to see this matchup earlier this season because of the Damar Hamlin situation. And with that entire Damar Hamlin situation, I mean, you got the Bills who want to do it for Damar, and then you got the Bengals who didn't even get a chance to prove that they were better than the Bills already. Um, it's a toss up here. I think this game needs to happen. If the Ravens win, I'm going to be pissed, but I think that this game, Bills Bengals, it's going to be huge. And I got Josh Allen leading the way. I got Bills winning this game. That's just my honest opinion. I think that
Okay.
on top, like the Damar Hamlin situation happened, you got Josh Allen being Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs being Stephon Diggs. And this is a playoff game. This is where the stakes are the highest. And this is where, I mean, it's very hard to say because Joey B, Joe Shiesty, he's got that a chip on his shoulder from losing the Super Bowl last year. But that chip can only go so far, man, especially when you're playing against this Bills team who arguably should have been the one seed if things weren't, you know, screwed up these past few weeks. So we'll,
Yeah.
we'll see, but I got Bills. So give me a round two.
All right. For me, LA at Kansas City. I also got Kansas City. Pat Mahomes always like shows down the playoffs. He knows how to beat this team. Justin Herbert's not very experienced in the playoffs.
Nope.
Um, they might not have Mike Williams. Who knows how bad his injury is? Keenan Allen's been suffering with that hamstring all year, but I I think it's going to be a pretty easy game for the Chiefs. It'll be a closer game, but it's still going to be pretty like good score difference. And then for me, the Cincinnati at Buffalo, I got Cincinnati winning the game. Like you said,
Wow,
you got Josh Allen
really?
being Josh Allen and Diggs being Diggs. You also got Joey B being Joey B and Jamar Chase being Jamar Chase. So like I have to admit, Bills have a very good defense against tough teams, but
Do
Bills
you
there's
think that the Bills O line can go against, or sorry, Bengals O line can go against this Bills D line though?
I do think they can. The Bengals have been a very lucky team too. Like they start off bad. Like they're like, what happened to this team? Super Bowl team, like not even doing good anymore. They turned that around and they went on a streak, going from like one of the worst, like one bad team at the beginning of the year to now a best team, arguably
Yeah,
a top should arguably could be a top two team if they
yeah.
who knows if that what that Bengals Bills game would have went like. But I think Joey B is gonna have a career game in this game. Him and Jamar Chase, T Higgins, T T Higgins, I think is probably still gonna be shaken up a little bit, but score. T Higgins and Jamar Chase is gonna go. They have Joe Mixon as well. Joe Mixon's gonna run all over them, in my opinion, and that's why I got Cincinnati beating Buffalo.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I did not expect that, but this is great because we got two different AFC championships lined up right here. So let's just jump
Mhm.
right into it. My AFC championship is going to be Chiefs at Bills, which you know who really doesn't have it either being Chiefs and Bengals or Chiefs and Bills, but I got it Chiefs and Bills, and you may hate me for this, but I got the Bills winning this game, and I have the Bills winning this game not only
I
for
don't blame
this.
you. I don't blame you.
I think because look at it like this. I always think back on that Stefon Diggs picture where he's looking up at the Chiefs winning the AFC championship and he's standing there wanting his shot. The Diggs has deserved to go to the championship so many times. And this Bills team is so good this year. Just like they were last year. They just got to overcome that speed bump, and that speed bump is the Chiefs. And whenever they can overcome this Chiefs team, they like the limits are it's unlimitless. That's what I meant to say. It's unlimitless
Yeah,
what they can do. And the Bills, I think it'd be a super close game. And I think that the Bills have been cheated out of a lot of big wins in in the past few years. And this is their one time to get it right. And if they don't get it right, then Chiefs back to the Super Bowl. But I really do hope that the Bills go, not only for the franchise, but also the fans. And also, it's just time for them to get there. It's been forever. And let's just hope that they don't go on another 4 year losing streak in the Super Bowl.
yeah, that's good. That's a good pick. Not gonna lie. But for me, I have the Cincinnati at Kansas City in my championship game, and a rematch of last year,
Yeah.
and I got Cincinnati winning again. I think
Really?
Joey
So
B got a little
Cincinnati going
shiesty
back to back Super Bowls.
back Super Bowls. I think Joey B had, like you said, has that chip on his shoulder, and he wants that championship back. He wants to win it this time, and that's basically all I got. That he's gonna do the same thing they did in Kansas City last year, and Joey B's gonna show Patrick Mahomes that he's his daddy.
That's true. He has been his daddy for quite some time, man. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is yet to beat Joey B.
Yep.
It's really awesome.
So
But
now we're
yeah,
gonna go
okay.
into our NFC.
Yeah, NFC round
You want
one.
me to start off on this one?
Yeah, go ahead. Start it off.
All right. So the first game I'm gonna go with is Cowboys and Buccaneers. Now the Cowboys, good team, but the Cowboys are gonna be the Cowboys, and they're gonna lose to Tom Brady, who's gonna be Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Tom
no,
Brady,
for sure.
it's Tom Brady's a goat. He knows he might have had a bad year, but I will never doubt Tom Brady in the playoffs. When it's the playoffs, it's a new team for him. It's he's going and he's playing as hard as he plays. His favorite Super Bowl ring is the next one. He wants that this year to be the next one. My next game is the Giants and Vikings, and I don't think this one's going to be that close in my opinion. I thought the Vikings winning, even though the
Right.
Vikings had some bad losses. I think that's not going to matter in this game. I'm gonna have Vikings winning with Justin Jefferson. I think he's gonna have over like 100 yards receiving. Kirk Cousins is gonna have a good game, but I got Vikings, and then for the last one, Niners and Seahawks. Easy decision. I remember seeing the video of just Pete Carroll riding the scooter.
Pete Carroll's scooting in, bro. And
Was
then you
that
got
recently? Was that like today or
no,
yesterday?
yeah, I think it was recently because it was people talking about like, oh, the Seahawks are worried about playing the 49ers. And you just got Geno who's like just dancing around. You got Pete Carroll riding in on the scooter. I don't he came
I
out of
was not
nowhere.
expecting that. Like I was like, all right, there's Gino just dance and stuff. Then just in the corner, just Pete riding a scooter all the way around. Like they're playing a
Uh,
hard team, like arguably one of the best teams in this playoffs. They're
Hey,
just not.
dude, they are the definition of just happy to be there. I mean, everybody had the Seahawks getting a first round pick. I mean, they got him having a first round pick like this year, and then they made the playoffs with Geno. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I'm so
crazy.
stoked for them. I'm so stoked for them.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I got the 49ers wiping the floor
Yeah,
on their team.
yeah,
Hey, they're just happy to be there though. They're just
they are,
happy to
dude.
be
They're just
involved, as
happy
John
that
would
they
say.
made. Yeah, happy to be involved. Shout out John. That needs to be a shirt. Merch coming soon. But yeah. So Cowboys at Bucks, 100% Bucks. Not only because I'm a fan, but also because, like you said, it's Tom Brady. And I mean, Tom Brady going out in the first round, that's almost unheard of. I mean, this Bucks team is a lot shittier than they were last season. I mean, it's just the truth. Last
Tom
season,
Brady's done it with worse.
he has. He definitely has. And like this is going to be no different. And I didn't watch the Bucks versus Falcons game. I don't even really know all the stats and all that happened between that. Falcons somehow won, but I don't think it didn't really matter
Sorry,
whatsoever.
there's got
But
Bucks.
okay, so I mean, yeah, and Kyle Trask played, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just think that Brady in this game against the Cowboys, it's at Raymond James, which is great. The fans are going to show up as they always do for these big games, and I mean Tom Brady's there, so obviously the fans are going to come. And there's surprisingly a lot of cowgirl fans that live in Florida. Like, there's a bunch of cowgirl fans that live in Florida, and it's annoying, bro. But they are here, and they're going to show up to that game too, and they're going to be annoying as they always are. But I got the Bucks, Brady, Evans connection coming in this playoff game. Everybody, I think this is hard. That's a hard game because a lot of people are either going to have the Cowboys choking or the Bucks choking. It's going to be either or. And historically, the Cowboys are going to be the ones to choke. Um, the next game, it's going to be Giants at Vikings. Give me the Giants. I know what you're thinking here, but there is bound to be an upset in these playoffs, especially with
That's
these
true.
teams. And one thing, this is my 100% main reason why I have the Giants winning. It's not at noon. It is not at noon. This game is not at
Oh,
noon.
you're
And
right. You are right.
Kirk
It isn't at
Cousins,
noon.
all of what they have 4 losses this season.
Yeah, around that
All
four
four
losses.
losses have not been at noon. And the Giants win this game. The Giants, they get a little bit of momentum back from their fan base. And boy, have I seen a lot of TikToks with Danny Dimes holding a damn Lombardi trophy. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it's all the Giants fans are thinking it will. New Eli Manning, whatnot. But we'll see what happens. I got Giants beating the Vikings in an upset.
Okay.
Lastly, last but not least, you got the 49ers and Seahawks. 49ers all the way. Brock Purdy's still undefeated. I mean, Geno Smith, don't get me wrong, he's going to play his heart out. He has something to prove. And I mean, the Seahawks,
Exactly.
obviously, they don't seem to care that much about what's happening. But, they're still going to play their A game. But it's going to be in San Fran. And it's just going to, it could be a blowout, honestly. But I got 49ers.
Yep. Good picks. Good picks. Okay, the next for the second round, it'll be Bucks at Eagles.
Mm.
Now, for the Eagles are going to be favored, obviously, showing a great year. Great year.
Great
However,
year.
Like you said, there's going to be an upset, and I think this is going to be the upset. Bucks beating the Eagles.
Really?
Like I
Okay.
said before, Tom Brady will be Tom Brady, and the Eagles, I'm pretty sure, have been dealing with injuries in the late season,
Yes,
and
they
I think,
have.
I think the Eagles are going to show that they are frauds in this playoffs. I think there are teams better than them in the NFC. The record might not show it, but I got other teams being better than them. For the next one, it's going to be, for me, Vikings versus 49ers. I got 49ers winning. He should, in my opinion, like I said, every time since we brought up Brock Purdy, he should be the face of the 49ers, their new quarterback going forward, not Trey Lance. He has shown that he deserves it. He's done better than what Trey Lance has done when he played, even though he's gotten hurt. He's not injury prone like Trey Lance is, and
Yeah.
he has McCaffrey, he has Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, all these weapons, plus
Um,
a great defense against a Vikings team that tends to choke in situations. And like you said, this game will not be at noon. I don't think it's going to be the number one seed facing the Vikings, so it won't be at noon. So Viking has that on them. Kirk Cousins doesn't do good in that time, and Justin Jefferson was going to be locked up in that game, I feel like. And that's why I have 49ers beating the Minnesota to bring them back to the Super Bowl.
super, super solid picks, bro.
NFC champ.
Super solid. For me, Bucks versus Eagles. As you already mentioned, the upsets are there. The Eagles are dealing with injuries. The Bucks are the Bucks, an 8-9 Bucks team playing against the 13-3 Eagles or 13-4 Eagles.
Yeah, three
Um,
loss Eagle team.
yeah, or maybe they're 14-3. Yeah, that makes more sense. There's 17 games. Anyways, the Eagles versus the Bucks. Boys, it's going to be no 17 games, 18 weeks.
Yeah. Sorry. Thinking weeks. My bad.
So then you got the Eagles versus Bucks. Give me the Buccaneers in this game. I got to agree with you. The Eagles, they seem like they're definitely frauds. And I mean, you're going against Brady. You got Brady. On top of that, Jalen Hurts has been dealing with injury as well. A lot of injuries on the Eagles side. I think that the Eagles they just get an upset here, or like the Bucks provide the upset to the Eagles, and it's just gonna. I mean, you've already explained most of everything I'm saying. So past that, I in my game I have 49ers versus Giants, and I don't think there's much to discuss here. 49ers beat the Giants.
I thought
Giants
you were
have
about to
squeaked.
say another upset.
Giants have squeaked by some games, and Danny Dimes against proven good defenses hasn't been that great. So the 49ers defense going against them won't be an issue. You got Purdy leading the way with a bunch of his weapons. Hey, I just said Brock Purdy. That's actually a fire ass name, but Brock Purdy is leading the way. And then it's just going to be awesome. I mean, the 49ers are going to crush the Giants in this game. So that means I got 49ers and Bucks in my NFC championship game. And I think you have the same one here.
Me?
Yeah,
This
you
is
have the
the end of
same
the
NFC.
line for Tom Brady's playoff. This is where he will lose, and the 49ers will head back to the Super Bowl. Tom Brady's team, it's Tom Brady's best defense he's playing in the playoffs, in my
Hold on, you're gonna have to
opinion.
restart because like the thing is really laggy right now.
All right, yeah, good. Everything good.
I hope so. Let's keep it going.
For me, I have the 49ers going back to the Super Bowl this year. The end of the line for Tom Brady's playoff, playing a tough defense in the 49ers. Probably the hardest defense he played this year. He's going to play in the playoffs. This plus the offensive powerhouse the 49ers have that their defense has not been able to stop this year. Their defense has not been good. Unfortunately, it's hard to say. I like the Bucks and Tom Brady, but being the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I have the 49ers doing it here too. I mean, the 49ers absolutely crushed the same Bucks team 35-7 in the regular season. I mean, I think they did get it done again. It was with Brock Purdy. These are the same teams matching up. Tom Brady could have more of that chip on his shoulder to win the game, but I think Tom Brady comes up in another NFC championship loss. And that pains me to say, and I really hope it doesn't happen. But 49ers go to the Super Bowl yet again. And yeah, we have the same agreement, but we do have different Super Bowls here.
Different
I
Super
have
Bowl for us.
I have Bills versus 49ers in Super Bowl 57, and you have who? The Bengals and the
The
49ers.
49ers. Give your thoughts on your
So
Super Bowl.
say what?
We'll start with you. Give your thoughts on
Oh,
your Super Bowl.
my Super Bowl, Super Bowl 57, highly anticipated Super Bowl, I feel. The final score for this game, 35-28 Bills. I'm riding with the
Wow.
Bills all the way. I've been hinting towards it through every game I've talked about. The Bills come up big this year. They finally get it done. They finally get it done. And Brock Purdy loses his first game of being a starter in the Super Bowl, which will be insane. But this is if this Super Bowl happens, Bills versus 49ers, boys are going to be an instant classic. Instant classic. There's so many storylines that line up to this game. And I just can't wait for it. Bills win 35-28. And if this would be crazy if
It
I
would be.
predict all this would be insane. If you predict all yours, I don't know. We might
So,
end up
so many
TikTok
posts to
famous,
come
bro.
for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Cincinnati versus 49ers. Both teams been to the Super Bowl in the past 2 years. Well, 49ers 2 years ago, Bengals now last year.
Yeah.
Both lost. Both want that Super Bowl win. I have San Francisco winning 34-31 in a Super Bowl classic. Cincinnati losing on a. I think Joey B is gonna have another upset, like get another be upset. Sorry, I'm trying to speak over my words. He's gonna be upset again, losing it. The chip on his shoulder. He is gonna stay undefeated with the remarkable story of being undefeated in the NFL. It's gonna be a crazy story for him. McCaffrey's gonna get his ring. George Kittle's gonna get a ring. And I just think they're going to be amazing in this Super Bowl. They're going to have the game of their life to this game.
Wow. And I think that the Bengals in the past, their Super Bowl before the Rams, they lost to the 49ers.
Yeah.
I can't remember which Super Bowl it was, but yeah, wow. And then they lose again, according to your prediction. So,
And like you
God,
said, the Bengals have that rough O line.
yeah, not going to add up
40,
against the 49ers defense.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think they're going to pull it through this time. Maybe next
Mm.
year, but I don't think it's going to be this year.
We'll see. We'll see how our predictions line up, and we'll definitely make a Instagram post about this. Get some people riled up. Maybe some TikTok clips. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. We're going to
But
get a lot of people
yeah,
around.
you keep cutting out, so it's kind of pissing me off. But thank you, Zoom Pro. You guys are doing awesome. We love you guys. But let's just keep moving forward. That was our NFL playoff prediction. Can't wait to see how it pans out. But new segment, and we are going to be doing this more in the future when we come around to it. Who's your daddy? Who is your daddy? And we're going to be talking about our fathers for NFL teams. So I'll start us off. I'm going to do both of my teams because I do support the Browns and the Bucks. But one thing I wanted to mention, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know if you've ever realized this about me, but I'm not passionate about like any NFL team. Like there's
Yeah.
no like passion behind any of my NFL teams.
You
I
just like
don't
them.
like I just do. I just like the NFL really. And like I have the teams that I've rooted for since I was young, which just kind of just gave me teams to root for every Sunday. But I really like when it comes to Tennessee and UCF, like I'm the most passionate fan you've ever seen. But when it comes to like the Bucks and the Browns, It's there's not much passion there. And on top of that, I mean, that I catch myself rooting for the Dolphins and the Titans every now and then too. So it's really just a mix up for me, and I just love the game. But if I did have to pick, I'll go with my two. My number one, the father of the Browns, Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger, whenever he was on his tenured with the Steelers, he was 29-6-1 against the Browns. And the craziest part was he was 17-1 at home against them. So, I mean, obviously it's the Browns. I think everybody's their father at this point. But
Even winning.
yeah, even winning, which brings me to my next father, the father of the Buccaneers franchise is winning. They've been under 500. They've been almost close to under 400. They've been at .402 winning percentage despite the season. They were at .402. So I mean, their father is definitely winning. But the times that they do have their good seasons, Super Bowl. I mean, it's incredible, but besides the point, when they don't have their good seasons, they just can't win games, and it's sad to see. And like, especially when it comes to Sundays and you're ready to watch some Buccaneers football, they can't get the job done, and are forced to turn the TV off half the time. So, or you're forced to watch, another game that you don't really care about the teams as much, but hey, it's NFL, so you have that. So, yeah, Mike, who's your daddy?
I don't think it's really like a surprise. It's Eli Manning. I'm a Patriots fan. I've died hard Patriot for my soul, and Eli Manning is our dad. Nothing to say, really. Beat us in 2 Super Bowls, stripping us from an undefeated season. Oh my god. I didn't watch those games, but just I've watched them. But with that, he got lucky with the stupid catch on the helmet thinking about it. It's Eli Manning. He owns Tom Brady and the Patriots. There's nothing we can say about it. We can't defend it.
Could you could you could you say that your stepdaddy is Nick Foles?
I mean, he's only beaten us once. It was in a Super Bowl, so I wouldn't put him in a. Give us another game with that, we'd beat them. That's all I gotta say. We beat that Eagles team.
All right, all right. That was a fun little segment. In the future, we'll be able to do that for our MLB teams, college teams, all of that stuff. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Another short segment that we want to introduce, and this was given to me by one of our, or it wasn't given to me, but I had the idea from our fellow friend and previous guest, Marshall. He said something really great about our podcast, which was like we're just like lunch table talk, which is a great way of looking at it. I love that, and so that's why this segment is called Lunch Table Talk, and we're just going to be spouting off whatever about the man, the myth, the legend, the commentating goat, Sports Center goat, whatever you want to name him, Skip Bayless. I had this idea pop into my head because recently Skip Bayless has been in a lot of news, and I mean Skip Bayless is usually in memes for years now. He's been in memes. He is a meme at this point. When you think of Skip Bayless, you don't think of him with his actual credibility. You think of him as kind of just this meme guy that's on Sports Center ready to spout out some stupid shit that's going to be on NFL hate memes and stuff like that. So I think to start it off is one of the best things about Skip Bayless, in my opinion, is his 2 a.m. Videos and posts that he makes. Do you know what I'm talking about, Michael?
Yeah, I
He
do.
he makes these 2 a.m. posts, like he shows his like crappy alarm clock at like 2:12 in the morning, and then it's just like it's targeted at LeBron. I mean, Skip Bayless just is like the biggest LeBron hater you've ever seen. Um, So he does this 2 a.m. thing. He's like up at the treadmill at 2 a.m. I don't really understand that. That's like way too early, or in some cases way too late to be going on the treadmill. But he does it in spite of LeBron James, which is the biggest this is the funniest thing ever. And the fact that LeBron James has never acknowledged Skip Bayless just makes it 10 times better.
uh,
Um,
yeah,
you have
for
anything to
me,
add?
speaking of him hating on LeBron, he tweeted before. Like, I
Hold on,
don't. There's
you have to repeat it because it lagged
no
out.
reason. Uh, he has tweeted before that Carmelo Anthony is better than LeBron James, And I mean, er, there's no way in a player, but he's no LeBron. Be honest with yourself, like, dude.
Man,
Stay on the
it's
subject is
Skip.
Skip Bayless. His he made a terrible mistake with with one of the latest tweets about the Demar
Oh
Hamlin
yeah. Oh yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So stupid of him. Like, and he refused to take it down. Like, there's
Yeah.
everyone. No one was. I don't think anyone was on his side for that. Like, that was terrible.
No, no, it wasn't. Like he was literally complaining about a game not being played because a player almost freaking died like on the field. And he's tweeting
I think it's
about
a
like
pretty good
how it
reason to end the game.
yeah,
Like,
no, it's a very good reason in the game. And I mean, after that, I mean the man was like man's been canceled, but then he's just like getting canceled even more because of that. And the canceling of Skip Bayless got so bad that he was supporting LeBron James on in the last episode of like Shannon and Skip or whatever the name of their show is, Undisputed. He was shouting out LeBron James, and this happened around the time LeBron James had his 39th birthday, and he was like just praising LeBron. Like that's how bad he got canceled. He was praising LeBron on the show for the entire show. And back to Undisputed, I saw this clip the other day, which kind of got me thinking about this topic as well. Shannon Sharp had got a call on set that his like grandson had been born, right? And like Shannon Sharp is excited, as all like grandparents should be. Like you're excited, you just got like your I think it was his first grandchild even. So I mean, this was huge for him. And shout out Shannon Sharp. He was like joking around how it was a grand goat, which is awesome. Grand goat. I like that name. But the entire time, Skip Bayless acted like he did not care at all. He just wanted to keep getting on with the show. He was like, oh wow, yeah, wow, okay. He's like, okay.
it's crazy. Yeah, that's
And that,
crazy.
yeah, no, like for real, he acted like that. And on top of all of the Skip Bayless slander, one of the biggest things to slander him about, he's a Cowboys fan. On top of that, he's like a Brady fan, which I never really like have fully
No,
understood
yeah,
the
I
entire
remember.
connection.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, he
I
is
remember
definitely one of
watching
the biggest
Shannon
Cowboy
Sharp.
fans.
Yeah, him and Shannon Sharp just like arguing over like goats of sports. And I love that show. It's so funny. They just get so mad at each other.
Yeah, no, they
It's like
do.
they hate each other, but they work together. They're just so funny.
I know
Uh,
they gotta walk into the studio like every day, and like they don't seem like they like get along at all. I doubt that they even text about like work, or anything like that. I mean, they're just there. So, oh man. Do you have anything else to say about Skip,
that's all I have for the Skip
the
Bayless.
ESPN Sports Center GOAT? Another one of our shorter segments that we just wanted to bring up because we are, super, super unbiased. We never are biased at all about anything on this podcast. We're probably the most trustworthy podcast out there with all of our takes and locks and everything like that. So let's just dive right into UCF and how great that they were last season. So no, they weren't. I only really have three of the teams on my script that I wanted to talk about. Which number one was a disappointing 9-4 season for the football team. Um, we did make the conference championship game, which was great. Great. It wasn't the best way to end our run in the big or in the American Athletic Conference, but it definitely was cool to go to the conference championship game with our last time being there. Shout out to Tulane, you guys are going to run it. We've been running it for the past almost decade now or whatever, so
Yeah.
it's been great for UCF. Another thing was the baseball team. uh, they were 35-25 uh, last season, and they were 14-10 in their in conference play. They finished second in the American Conference behind ECU, East Carolina University, who was 20-4 in conference play. So there was a huge gap in the entire American Conference between teams here.
Yeah.
And they got far in the AAC championship tournament. They got to the semifinals and they lost to Houston. So Obviously, our team still did better than USF in baseball, so that's always a big thing. And I've been hearing some things about like this guy. I haven't heard much about him recently, but I have heard in the past this guy Corbin Little is going to be like running the show at USF baseball and potentially could be handing some UCFLs out.
Stud baseball player.
You know, I, I can't hate him, man. I've seen some of his high school highlights, and man, he looks like a great pitcher. Maybe he can get the job done, but it's UCF
Stud.
baseball, so
Low
I
key, I
can't
want to
really.
show sometime.
Who, Corbin Little?
Corbin, I want to meet him so bad. Like that would be like awesome, dude.
Dude, if we got to meet him, bro, I don't even know. I think I'd fangirl. Like I would be jumping up and down. Like that'd be
Dude would like
insane if
freeze,
Corbin
man.
Little joined. Like that would be crazy. And like I can get in contact with him. Any of you viewers, if you guys somehow know him, I don't know how you know him, but if you did, you could reach out, see if he wants to join. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Besides that point, shout out Corbin Little. Anyways, basketball team, we were 8-12 overall, 9-9 in conference play. God, this is really bad. I'm not gonna lie. This is very mediocre. Sixth in the AAC, so we were basically like the most mediocre team in the American Athletic Conference, and we missed March Madness. So I'm hoping this year we're able to turn some things around, which our basketball team does seem like they are. They only have two losses as of right now. Tonight is the big game against a conference rival Memphis, so I'm excited to see what happens there. But yeah, anything you want to add about UCF athletics?
Pretty much, you've covered everything. The basketball, they are looking pretty good. They nearly, but we couldn't pull it through that. They I'm gonna miss him, and then I just don't
You're
think
gonna have to
JRP is gonna be the answer for this.
you're gonna have to repeat like just about everything you said.
I'll restart then. For
Yeah,
basketball, I, you pretty much covered everything. For basketball, they nearly beat Houston, turning it around, and that's pretty much why I have to say for basketball. And but for football, the end of the Mikey Keene era, where I'm gonna miss him. He was fun to watch at times, and I hope UCF just gets a new quarterback. JRP isn't the
yeah,
answer. Fun to
no,
watch at all. But yeah, that's all I have to say about UCF. We're gonna have a great seasons next year.
for sure, for sure. So the next segment we have is NBA games of the weekend. Um, Michael didn't really send me what games he was gonna pick, so I'm just gonna sit back and I'm just gonna listen to what Mike has to say here.
All right, let me pull up. I have them here. I just want to pull up ESPN just to make sure I get that. So my first game Thursday, the day we released this Thursday night game, Bucks at Heat. Going to be a great game for them to play. It's the best game of that day, honestly. It's not really Celtics Nets, but the Nets are without for like a month, I think, weeks, month. And then for I just want to say I got Bucks winning that, by the way. For Friday, there's a couple good games. Got first one, Nuggets at 7-13. The Clippers are 22-21 as of when we. It's going to be a great game. Two very good teams. Clippers with Kawhi, Nuggets with Jokic. I think Kawhi is going to pull this team through in this game. That's why I got the Clippers winning. And then my other game for the day is Thunder at Bulls. Two young teams, but they're both the Thunder are 18-23. The Bulls are dealing with injuries on their team. And the Thunder are just a very young team that's been showing that they're going to be a team of the future. That's and I got because of that, I got the Thunder winning. They have great players with Shy Alexander. Wow, what a player that guy is.
Yeah, the Thunder just recently like owned the Celtics, I saw, which that was very interesting.
Saturday games. Moving on to the Saturday, Saturday, January 14th. Pretty much every game playing this day is good, which is I think it's going to be like not even close. Celtics at Hornets. I'm not going to talk much about that. That's the only game I don't think is going to be the most interesting. But the most interesting of that day, I'm going to say the Bucks and Heat are playing again. It's a two series, basically a series with them, two games
Yeah,
back to back. I got I got the Bucks winning again on this one. I think they're just going to show the Heat that they own them. And then also another big game, 76ers at Jazz. 76ers, good team with being led by Joel Embiid, and the Jazz with I cannot say his name. It's Laurie Markkinen, right?
Laurie
Markkinen,
Marketing.
something like
Yeah,
that. Can't
yeah.
say his name. Yeah, his team. He has been showing that he's not the next Donovan Mitchell, but like he has been a good replacement for him. Same with oh my god, what's Jordan Clarkson? Jordan Clarkson, sorry.
Yeah.
And that them two have been carrying this team to a 21-23 record. And because of that, I see them upsetting the 76ers. For my last day, Sunday, Warriors at Bulls. With Steph Curry back, finally, they're going to beat easily this young, hurt Bulls team. And then my next game, Mavs at Trailblazers. Luka Doncic going to show what he does best against Damian Lillard and win that game. And that's all I have for NBA games of the weekend.
Let's go. There's gonna be some great games, especially that Trailblazers Mavs game for sure.
I do think it's going to be a good game.
Thank you. NBA games of the weekend actually. So yeah, this is gonna be a fun little segment here that we can do in the future for different sports. And as times change,
Yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of different players. So I was really hoping to see who John picked for this, but John's gonna be John and John didn't show. So we're just gonna have me and you. And who is the biggest baseball
I got a
guy?
good one for this one, I think.
Why not? Should I start it off or you?
I don't care. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. You seem excited.
For me, I am basing this off of something that happened in this last season. To me, the biggest baseball guy is a man known by Tommy Pham. What happened in this? Oh, this is so funny. So during batting practice, the before it was in May 27th game between San Francisco Giants and Cincinnati Reds, walked out to left field while the Giants were warming up, confronted Jock Peterson, and slapped him right in the face. Slapped him right in the face. And
Nah,
no one knew why at first. And then later on, we get news that it was over a fantasy event, that they're in a fantasy league, and it was because of usage of the injured reserve, because he was quote unquote stashing players who was ruled out for the game, and evidently Fam held on to that grudge for like 9 months. 9 months, and because we walked out there, slapped him in the face, and left. There was is that we eventually found out that Mike Trout was the commissioner and Alex Bregman was the winner of this 12-man fantasy league.
now,
It
do you
was
know what
that just
fantasy
so
this
funny
was
to me.
for? Was this for fantasy baseball or fantasy football?
It doesn't say it. It was during baseball, but he just, in my opinion, Tommy Pham doesn't give two two fucks about what he does. Even when it comes to baseball, turned around while we're fantasy. It's just funny to me.
Dude, that is an awesome pick. And I'm sure I would have a better pick if I like watched baseball more and kept up with baseball more. But this is going to be no surprise who my most baseball guy is, and that is going to be the man, G Man Choi. G Man Choi is forever going to be my favorite player. No matter if he isn't on the Rays or not, he's always going to be my favorite player. And he's one of the biggest baseball guys I know. Because who is willing, man? Who is willing to break their entire dick by splitting, doing the splits to catch a first base ball in the 2020 World Series game? I mean, this man, and this isn't the first time he's done the splits to catch the ball. It's G-Man fucking Choi, bro. He's gonna do the splits all the time and catch the ball. It's crazy. On top of that, actually replied to me on an Instagram story. So shout out G-Man Choi. Yeah, he
He did.
had like a little he had like a little like question thing. And I responded to it and he sent something back. It's somewhere in my camera roll. I forgot what it was, but hey, shout out to G-Man for that. Not only do I have a jersey of him, he's just the biggest baseball guy there is because this man loves baseball. Like if you are to follow him on social media, he live streams like a lot of like the baseball like stuff that he does. He also just live streams in general. Like dude will just be like chilling with his dog, this little cute little white fur ball of a dog that he has, and they just like chill on live stream. And I mean, half the time he doesn't know like what we're saying because it's in English, but hey, I mean, he's still being that guy. And not only that, but he loves the fans. He loves the fans. He loves the Rays fan base so much.
Mhm. An honorable mention for mine would have been Brett Phillips. He's a big baseball guy, you could say.
Oh yeah.
Great guy. Even as a Red Sox fan, I do like Brett Phillips. He was fun to watch. But yeah, that wraps up everything for me
All right, yeah.
for that segment.
That was fun. We're dwindling down here to our last few segments, and this is a segment that I'm mainly gonna let Mike control because I thought John would be here, but that's besides the point, which is our countdown of the best MLB players going into the next season, our top five players going into the next season. And so yeah, Michael, to start us off,
Yeah.
actually I'll start us off with my list because my list is obviously I'm not going to know too much about what I'm talking about, but I do know these players' names obviously, and I think that they'll still do good next season. So at my five, I got Aaron Judge. I think that he was coming off a great year last year. The home run record and all that stuff for the AL, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great year. I just don't think that he'll be number one like he was last year because the games change. At my four, I got Paul Goldschmidt, on the Cardinals. I think that this is gonna be like another great year for him. He was already top five last season, in my opinion. So this year he's just gonna make a bigger run. At my three, this is gonna make some Braves fans cream their pants, but I got Ronald Acuna Jr. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Ronald Acuna
Acuna?
Jr. Yeah.
Yeah. So dude, past few
He's a
seasons,
beast.
he's been hitting bombs, and I mean, I think that he dealt with a little bit of an injury last season, correct?
Yeah, he did. He did.
So this season coming up off the injury, bombs after bombs for the Braves franchise, all coming from Ronald Acuna Jr. I think is going to be a great year for him. At my number two spot, give me Manny Machado. I think that he gets back in the game, and I know Manny Machado at number two is a little bit high, but the Padres team next season is going to be a very stacked team, very fun to watch team, and I think Manny Machado is going to lead the way. And at my number one, I got Shohei Ohtani having another fantastic year as he's been having for the past few years now, and he's going to be the number one player in the league. I think that he's going to be he's this is my personal opinion, and I don't know much about baseball, but Shohei Ohtani could be
Shohei.
the cover Shohei Ohtani could be uh, the face of another MLB game. He could be on two covers.
Wow. That's not like a hot like that. I could see that easily happening. He's like an amazing player, which leads me into my list. My number five, I am going Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander last season, he's going to be 40 this season. Last season, he played 28 games. He went 18-4 with a 1.75 ERA and a .829 WHIP. He was in 10. It's Brady, and he is showing he is the man on the mound. He is one of the best. I'd say he's top 3 pitchers for sure, but because I'm putting him here above these other 2 pitchers because he stays healthy most of the time, other than his he had a injury 2 years ago that kept him
Mhm.
out the year. But when he plays, he is a bomb, just like Justin DeGrom, just like Max Scherzer, just like any other of the star pitchers. But this man delivers even at his age. That's why I have him at 5. For my number 4, I'm going Freddie Freeman. He's going to be 33. He's on the Dodgers, obviously, now. He's going to be well acquainted on the Dodgers. Last season, he did great, amazing. He had a batting average of 325 with 21 home runs, 100 RBIs in 159 games and 708 plate appearances. He led the league in plate appearances, runs, hits, doubles, and on base percentage. He was an all-star and was a baller last year. He just came right behind Paul Goldschmidt in MVP voting. For my number 3, you had Manny Machado on your list somewhere on your list, and
Uh,
you said he's going to lead the San Diego Padres. In my opinion, I think Juan Soto is going to lead this team. That's why I
okay.
have him at my
Yeah,
number
that's fair to
3.
say.
He's young at the age of 24. Last year wasn't his best year. He got traded to the Padres. He was still going in. However, he still batted 242 with 27 home runs, 62 RBIs in 153 games played, and 664 plate appearances. He had an all-star season, a silver slugger season, and let's not
Hmm.
forget that awesome home run derby he won.
Oh yeah,
That was a very fun home run derby to watch. Him versus
it
Julio
was.
Rodriguez, very fun. For my number 2, he's going to be 28 next season. The dual threat MLB player, the scariest type of player,
Hmm.
pitching and hitting. He batted 273 hitting with 34 home runs, 95 RBIs, in 157 games played, and 606 games. He had 28 games played with a 15-9 record and a 2.33 ERA with appearance Judge, nearly back to back, and he came in 4th in Cy Young. He is a beast when it comes to baseball. Like he is this one of the if not the scariest, one of the scariest players to face at the plate or on the mound. By the way,
Wow. Okay.
do you know what whip
You're cutting
is?
out like you're cutting out really bad, so I can't understand what you're saying.
Did you get anything I just said? I just want to make sure. Did you?
No, no,
So do I have to go back through my list?
no, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
You said, do you understand what blah 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 is? I didn't hear it.
Do you understand what whip is?
No,
What
I
the
was gonna ask you about that. What is that?
So whip, it stands for walks and hits per innings pitched. A
Okay.
good whip is anywhere around 1, and a career whip below 1 is very rare. There are only 2 pitchers with a minimum of 1,000 innings pitched that have a whip below 1. So if it's around 1, it is very, very good. Under 1 is amazing. And
Mm,
Shohei Ohtani had a 1.012 whip last season, and Justin Verlander had a .829 whip. Amazing for pitchers, very good. And that's why I have Shohei
wow.
at 2. And
Mhm.
my number 1, I had the man. He is going to be 1 next season. He batted 283 last season with 40 home runs, 80
Mhm.
RBIs, and 119 games played and 499 plate appearances. He was all-star appearance, he was 8th at MVP with the Silver Slugger. And he did all of that when he started the season injured.
Wow. Who is this mystery
He hit
man?
one of his career highs of 40 home runs in the season. Man is a slugger on at the plate, and he is a great defender in the field. He is showing why he is the greatest player in baseball. He is going to go down as a first ballot Hall of Fame. If it's not unanimous,
I
it's
think I think I
that's
know who this is. I think I know.
oh, did you not hear who it was?
No, I cut out.
It was Mike Trout.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guessed it right.
Yeah.
Mitchell.
He is a great player. He like I said, he comes in MVP votings like usually he's always an MVP talk throughout the whole season. Whether it's a bad season for him is batting in the 280s, which is like a good season for a lot of players. It's crazy
Yeah,
how good this player is. And that's my top five uh players.
dude,
Pretty
that's
much.
super solid. I can't wait to see a graphic about that. Honestly, that's gonna be awesome. Um, so that was wrapping up the countdown for us of our top five MLB players going into next season. And one of our last two segments. Honestly, I think we can get rid of Mike's locks. I don't really think
Yeah,
there's
we're just
much
gonna skip over Mike Stocks for tonight.
we can really. So this will be our last segment of the day, which is draft day. Best people named Justin, and this is going to be a super fun one for sure. And I believe I have the first overall pick in this one.
You do.
So is this going to be a snake draft because there's only two of
No, we'll just
us?
go back and forth. There's just two of
Yeah.
us.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right. So with all right, best people named Justin draft with the first overall pick. Michael, give me the first person that comes to mind for at least our generation, I guess, Justin Bieber.
Good pick.
I I think
Good
that there's
pick.
I really do think that there's like a top three for the Justins, but and this is in the top three. So I mean, there's not much you can argue with here. All right,
All right, I'm just gonna go
your first pick.
my first pick. My first pick will be serious. Timberlake. Justin Timberlake.
You cut out at the worst times, I swear. Like you can like hear everything you say, and then you'd be like the one point that you're trying to make, it just cuts out right there. So you just went
I'll restart.
Justin, and then it just
Justin Timberlake.
there we go. Yeah, no, he's
Is
definitely in the top three. And I
my
if you didn't
pick.
pick him, if you didn't pick him, like oh man. Um,
I really hope you don't pick.
I think I heard you say I really hope you don't pick who I'm gonna pick next. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think I just might give me Justin Jefferson.
Oh no,
Um,
that's not okay. That's good.
oh, that's not who you're gonna pick? Okay. Justin Jefferson at my number two. Um, I do kind of think I know who you're gonna pick here, but I could be
Okay,
wrong and I could steal him. But
my my pick is Justin from Fortnite.
oh, what? I wasn't expecting that. All right, that's awesome. All right. That's funny. Is he like the default skin?
No, it's just you know, are you cracked at Fortnite? You know that meme is like my friend Justin. Yeah, he's cracked at
Uh
Fortnite, my guy.
oh dude, I totally forgot about that one. That is honestly so funny. A little bit early for that pick, I'd say.
You would
Um
have him. That's why because I thought you're this is
yeah, no,
this
I
is kind of
wasn't
like a
gonna have
joke.
him. But I'm gonna steal
Crap.
this. I'm gonna steal this since I already have like an athlete. I'm gonna go ahead and steal this one from you. Give me Justin Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, give me that one. Give me him. Great team player, great leader, even.
Hmm. Go the athlete route. I'm gonna pick Justin Verlander.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean that's super solid. It's we just got done talking about him, so
Yeah,
that's even better. Um, so there's obviously still a lot of just. It was hard to kind of find some Justins, but now since there's only two of us, there's a lot to choose from. But I'll stick on the athlete route for my fourth overall pick and give me the best kicker to ever live, Justin Tucker.
good pick. Good pick.
Yeah, he's one of the best Justins in my opinion, especially recently.
Okay, for my next pick, I'm gonna go with Justin mm,
Justin who?
Herbert.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. I mean, he's obviously on my list. That's a super good pick. Um, so what? It's my last pick now, right?
Yeah, you're
All right.
the last
Totally could
pick.
stick to athletes. There's quite a few athletes named Justin. But I will end my picks of the best Justins with one of the funniest Justins that I can think of, Justin Roiland, the creator of Rick and Morty.
How do you say his last name?
Roiland, Roiland.
All right. Damn, that was a good one. I didn't even think of him. Now there's
Yeah.
two things I could go for. Like my last pick is not gonna be anything big. I can go, I'm gonna go the UFC route. There's a fighter, a beast named Justin Gaethje. He is a very cool guy to watch. That's just my personal pick. He's a fun little pick for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
He's a great UFC fighter.
Is that all your picks then?
That is all my picks. I'll go over them.
All right.
Hopefully I don't cut out. Tell me if I cut out.
As soon as you said hopefully I don't, it cut out. So, but I kind of knew what you were saying there. Hey, we're in the home stretch here.
These are the picks.
Just read them. Just read them.
All right, Justin Jefferson, Justin Russo, Justin Tucker, and Justin. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
boy, it cut out so bad. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. So I'll just end it. I'll end it for us. Round one, here, put it up on the screen again. Round one, I had Justin Bieber. I had Justin Jefferson, Justin Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place, Justin Tucker, and Justin Roiland. Mike had Justin Timberlake, Justin from Fortnite, Justin Verlander, Justin Herbert, and Justin
Gaethje. Gaethje.
Gaethje. So let us know who won. There is some of the other ones that I had on here. Justin Fields,
Yeah, I had him.
Justin Turner for
I
an
had him as
MLB.
well.
But one that I was surprised neither of us picked, which I was gonna pick, but there were so many better ones. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. He's like one of the
Oh yeah,
most known
yeah.
Justins at the
I had
moment
him on
too.
my list. And then I also
But
had
he's
a guy.
just so lame, bro. He's so
Yeah,
lame.
not a good pick. I had a guy named Justin Chambers on here. He's a Grey's Anatomy character. I know all the girls like fangirl over that show, so I know he's. I saw that. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna add him to my list because I was expecting John would be here, so I probably would have taken him if.
Yeah. There was another dude. There was an actor named Justin Long, and he was the voice of Alvin and the Chipmunks in like all the movies. And also, if you like saw a picture of him, you would know him. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But he was a great pick if it would have came to that. Also, Justin from Total Drama Island. That was gonna be one of my picks because I knew that I thought that John would be here, so I had like more lined up. Because also there was like Justin Holiday on the Pacers. I could have went that route. There's a lot of good routes to go, but anyways, that is gonna end it for episode 10, everyone. We're already 10 episodes in. We're just now reaching, I think we're just a little bit over a month now, which is really great to get this far. We're proud to have our first sponsorship with Dubby. Use our promo code against the call for 10% off your next purchase. So yeah, there's going to be really big things coming up soon. Let all of your friends and family know. Leave a great review for us if you've got this far. Just thank you so much for listening this far in throughout all of the difficulties that Zoom has to bring. We're going to try and bring you the best content available. And we're hoping that some big names are going to be joining our podcast soon. So make sure you tune in for that. But as always, have a great rest of your day, guys. And we'll see you in the next one.